This here is 101st Airborne, 1968 Vietnam. There's a lot of pictures in here, a lot of operations. I found nothing about Richard in here, but if you want to look through that and see if you can. This here is my personal book. This is a picture of Charlie Company before we left for Campbell, Kentucky, going over. These are the guys that originally went over when the division did.
Right, and like you said, Richard was one of the replacement guys.
And of course, I'm in here. This is Sergeant Zolas, the one he talks about.
Yeah.
The little Mexican. This was the first sergeant.
Who, you remember his name?
Got it wrote down on. You better get it out.
Yeah.
Okay, our captain when we went over was Captain Mansfield. He was wounded. Matter of fact, I think his RTO stepped on a mine. He was paralyzed from his waist down after that. And the last I heard from him, he's passed away now, but he was working for the Department of Veterans Affairs in Washington, D.C., trying to help the Vietnam vets. The first sergeant.
Thank you.
Was Maka, M-A-K-A was his last name. And I saw very little of him. He stayed back in the rear most of the time and made sure we were supplied when we needed to be.
Were you guys under a gentleman named Colonel Cushman?
Cushman?
I spoke to him. You know, he's still alive.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I ran into him at one of the Week of the Eagles at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. And I guess he's still alive. Last I heard he was.
I called him up. I thought I was going to find a relative of his. I saw the name Cushman. So I said, hey, you know, I tried to, this is maybe 6 months ago, explain who I was. I said, I'm looking for somebody who's related to General Cushman. He goes, this is General Cushman. What do you want? And I was like, holy shit, the guy's still alive. So I asked him, I said, well, you know, I was friends with a guy named Flaherty. He goes, Flaherty. Oh yeah, my 1 meter lieutenant. He called him the 1 meter lieutenant.
And this here's a list of guys that was killed in '68. A Company, B Company, Charlie Company. I think Charlie Company, as you can see, had more people killed than any other company.
Why was that? Because you guys are just in the worst areas?
I guess because we was just in more contact than they was in. This is my certificate of being a membership of the battalion, 1st 501st. I was awarded the Purple Heart on Valentine's Day, 1968. I got a heart on Valentine's Day. Bronze Star Medal, the Air Medal, Commendation Medal, Certificate of Appreciation, and that's basically it, you know.
You remember what you got the Bronze Star for?
It had to be in a firefight or something, you know. A lot of guys got the Bronze Star. I think Richard had 1 or 2 probably. And you can get a Bronze Star, you can get a Bronze Star with a V, which is a little bit above the regular Bronze Star.
What about your Purple Heart? What was that from?
Purple Heart was shrapnel wounds. We was going into a village and I guess it was a RPG or something that they shot at us, and I got a little bit of shrapnel in my legs. Not bad enough that I was even evacuated. The medic fixed it out there in the field, which I didn't mind, you know. I'm glad it wasn't no worse.
Yeah. Any funny stories in that month when you were in camp with Richard you could remember? Like, there's a guy who told me one night he got so drunk, Richard got so drunk, the Green Beret, he told me he had to carry him and cradle him like a little baby. He carried Richard out of somewhere like that, out of a bar one night. Anything funny in that month that you can remember?
We done very little drinking in Vietnam. You know, I'm sure that there was a lot of it done in the rear area, but we would usually get maybe a beer and a Coca-Cola a day on supply ship when they come in.
Yeah.
And as far as getting drunk, you know, I never really seen anybody out in the field drunk.
Did you guys have to like practice drills, like stuff I've read that you guys do, like, you know, you practice drills while you're in camp for what you're gonna do?
No.
Everything was just live.
Everything was just ordinary, you know. Now, when I went to Fort Campbell, Kentucky in 1967, I was stationed in Germany before then. I volunteered to go to Nam. Well, the first sergeant come out one morning and said anybody wanted to go to the 101st Airborne, see me. But I will tell you, before you do, they get preparing to go to Vietnam. I didn't like Germany. I wanted out of Germany, so I volunteered to go to Fort Campbell to go to Vietnam. And when we got there, we had some training, for about 3 or 4 months of training before we went over. And we left on, I think, December the 17th. December the 15th, 1967, when we departed Fort Campbell, Kentucky, to go to Vietnam.
How many days or weeks till you were out in the jungle actually in a firefight from that date you left Kentucky?
In a firefight?
Yeah.
I couldn't say, but we was out in the field 95% of the time. We very seldom saw the rear area.
My point is, Carl, you're just in the United States. You're just 2 weeks later, you're in a firefight in the jungles of Vietnam. That's pretty crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Did it feel real, or just?
Well, we didn't know what we were going to really get into when we left Fort Campbell. We found out in a hurry, especially in January, February 1968, when the Tet Offense was kicked off. We found out right quick what it was like to be in Vietnam. And as far as any training or anything after we got there, no. When we hit the ground in Vietnam, we knew we was there for 1 year. We made it.